Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Some Good Booze show. My name is Jonathan Pogash, founder and owner of The Cocktail Guru. We do this live stream on Facebook and on YouTube every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't gone to the Cocktail Guru page, click like. And if you haven't gone to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and follow that or subscribe to that. All right, everyone, thank you so much. This is great. I have a very packed show and a packed post show over on Instagram Live, which I'll tell you about in just a second. So as we do every day, we talk about some positive and inspiring news, and then we go into cocktail making. And today we are doing a cocktail, kind of a lost and forgotten cocktail called the Diabolo. But before we get to that, let's talk about some positive news. Folks, if you're there, definitely say hi and comment. It's always great to see who's there, and I'm happy to answer questions live. And also, what are you drinking and what will you be drinking? Nick, hey, buddy, good to see you. Welcome, everyone. Nick from Miami. Love it, love it. Okay, so let's go ahead with some positive news for the day. So I always love to talk about this good news in history, things that happened this day in history. So this day in history, a solar eclipse occurred. Great, solar eclipse, as predicted by Greek philosopher and scientist Thales, okay? This was a phenomenon that led to a truce in battling armies. This is really interesting stuff, what became known as the Battle of the Eclipse. But what's important is that this set a cardinal date from which other dates can be calculated. This was in 585 BC, so this is very important in our calendar that this solar eclipse happened. This is amazing. I love it. Hello, Kelly. Hey, from Kansas. Good to see you. Okay, so now let's get into this cocktail, shall we? So the Diabolo is a classic rum-based cocktail, but is it? I looked up this cocktail in some books because it's been a really long time since I've heard of or tasted this cocktail, actually. And this is actually my book, the Mr. Boston Bartender's Guide, the 75th anniversary edition that I edited. The Diabolo is in here, and it probably dates back to the 1940s or 50s from when it was in the Mr. Boston book, because this book was first published in 1932. Hey, Mike. Oh, good. Drinking a classic from the 1930s. I love it. Beautiful, yum, delicious. I love, yep, I love that gold apricot. Okay, so here, the Diabolo light rum, triple sec, dry vermouth, Angostura bitters, orange twist. It's essentially a dry martini with rum and orange, a dry orange martini. That's great, but I dug a little further, folks. And one of my go-tos for the 1920s, 30s, 40s era, well, 1920s and 30s cocktail era is the Savoy Cocktail Book, which was published in 1930, 3 years before the very first edition of Mr. Boston. And here it is, folks, the Diabolo cocktail. But brandy, French vermouth, which is dry vermouth, a spoonful of Angostura, and 2 spoonfuls of orange bitters. So that is a little different, and we're going to kind of meet somewhere in the middle in this version that I make for you today. So let's go ahead and do this double screen action, folks. And here's the Diabolo cam, so you can see I've got all of my ingredients here. This is a stirred cocktail, so we don't need a cocktail shaker. We don't need a blender like I used yesterday, if you all were watching. Let's go ahead and take our mixing glass and start with our rum. I have a white rum here, okay? We're doing 2 ounces of our white rum directly into the mixing glass. And you'll see I'm jiggering or measuring. And now the recipe in the Mr. Boston guide calls for a ½ ounce each of the dry vermouth and the triple sec. I don't think that that's enough. So I'm actually going to do 3/4 of an ounce of each. So I have my triple sec right over here, and we're doing 3/4 of an ounce directly into our mixing glass, just like so. Now this drink is meant to have light rum and all light and clear ingredients, and that's because it's meant to be, it's meant to look like a martini, essentially. This is a really nice classic, what I think a classic 1940s, 50s style cocktail, kind of Mad Men era, right? Okay, here you go. Here's some 3/4 of an ounce of dry vermouth. Oh, look at that. Kelly says she's a blender girl. Oh my gosh, this drink I made yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. I did the zombie. So look back on my Cocktail Guru page and you'll be able to check it out. It was so good. I guess we're doing rum this week. It's a rum kind of week. Okay, now our bitters. So I'm splitting the difference between my aromatic bitters and my orange bitters, Angostura orange and Bitter Truth aromatic. And I'm doing 2 dashes of each. 1, 2 of my aromatic. Angostura also makes aromatic bitters. 1, 2 of my orange bitters. And now our ice, okay? And we'll give this a really nice stir. And if you remember, do you all remember how long we stir for? If you've been watching these tutorials or these segments, Yes, it's 16 Mississippi's, right? We shake for 8 Mississippi's. We stir for 16 Mississippi's. This is a classic stirred cocktail because it has all alcoholic ingredients in it, all booze. That's the general rule. Although martinis, I actually like my martinis shaken. This one, I think the texture gets lost if it's shaken, so I prefer it stirred. And here we are. We're just about there at 16 Mississippi's. Need to do the sample. That is really nice, actually. And here's my beautiful vintage cocktail glass, if you can see it right here. Lovely. We'll strain it right out into our vintage glass, just like that. Look at that. It's kind of golden in color. Now, Diabolo, do you guys know what a Diabolo is? I didn't really know. It's one of those circus games. It's a tube with a string, and you kind of pass it back and forth. Yeah, it's really neat. You should Google it. Okay, so now let's do our orange peel. So I like that, a nice long orange peel from top to bottom, just like that. But I'm going to make this one a little special, a little fancy. And I have my craft scissors. Have you guys seen this before? And you just kind of cut along the edges. We'll do this over my cutting board. Cut along the edges, and you get this kind of really fancy design for your orange. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Now I will squeeze it over the top so I get the aromatics, rub it around the rim, and drop it in. And there is the Diabolo cocktail, folks. Look at that. Fred says it's an El Presidente riff. You're absolutely right. El Presidente is a really delicious cocktail too. Well, cheers. I'm going to sip this for you, and I'll let you know. Get the beautiful orange zest aromatics up front. It is lovely. The rum is just kind of the backbone, but the dry vermouth and triple sec are really the stars of this cocktail. They shine through. You get the orange, you get the herbaceous notes from the dry vermouth, and the bitters kind of round everything together. It's a really nice cocktail, I have to say. Folks, we are not done, because in just about 20 minutes on my Instagram Live, that's the Cocktail Guru Instagram, we're going to do a post show. We're going to make another 1950s style cocktail with a good friend of mine, none other than Mr. Maisel himself, Michael Zegan from the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel TV show. So check it out on my The Cocktail Guru Instagram Live at 5:30. Michael Zegan from the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He does play Mr. Maisel, Joel Maisel. We'll be making a cocktail together. He's a really good friend of mine. We went to college together. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you there. And we always take Friday and the weekends off. I will see you back here on Tuesday, 5 p.m. live Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your cocktail making.